Welcome to Eureka Math. I'm Mr. Shankel. I'm going to be helping you today with Module 1, Lessons 2 and 3. Let's get started. I've got some questions here that we'll go through to help us talk about the use of integers in the real world. So let's start with number 1 here. Our job is to write an integer to match the following descriptions. And we're going to use some keywords to help us decide what the number should be, what the integer should be. So let's start with A. The word that I want to focus on is debit. We talked in class that a debit is a negative, so I'm going to use a negative 40 as my integer. That's a bad 40. Okay. The next one is a deposit. Deposit is when money is put into your account. That means you're adding. So this is going to be a positive 225. C. We have above sea level. Above sea level is going to represent a positive number. So the integer then would be 14,000. So now let's see, letter D, a temperature increase. The key word here is increase, and that means it's going to be positive, and the number is 40. That's our integer. A withdrawal. A withdrawal means you're taking money out of your account. That's going to result in a negative moved in your balance. So this is going to be a negative 225. That is the integer. And then lastly, 14,000 feet below. Below means negative. So this is going to be a negative 14,000 feet. And then just notice here that we have some opposites. Got negative 40 and positive 40. We have positive 225 and negative 225. And we have a positive 14,000 and a negative 14,000. They all happen to be opposites because they're exactly the same distance from 0. All right, number 2. Our job is to pick A or B, the one that fits the situation. We have a whale is 600 feet below the surface of the ocean. Our options are A, the depth of the whale is 600 feet from the ocean's surface, and B, the whale is negative 600 feet below the surface of the ocean. This one's a tricky one, and it's because there's this thing called a double negative that we're dealing with. Let me just focus on B for a second. The whale is negative 600, so that's a negative integer. And then we also add this below word, which also means negative. And the opposite of a negative is a positive. So we've got two negatives going on, and that's going to mean the complete opposite of what we want it to be, which is 600 feet below. So B is no good because we've got a negative in the number, and then our word also means negative, a double negative. So A is correct. The depth of the whale is 600 feet from the ocean's surface, and that means it's minus 600. Okay, let's see. 3, the elevation of the bottom of an iceberg with respect to the sea level is given at negative 125. And we have to say which one fits. A, the iceberg is 125 feet above sea level, or B, the iceberg is 125 feet below sea level. And we look at our clue here, which is negative 125 feet, and negative means below. So our answer then is B. All right. Moving on, number 4. Alex's body temperature decreased by 2 degrees Fahrenheit. Our choices are A, Alex's body temperature dropped 2 degrees, or B, the integer negative 2 represents the change in Alex's body temperature in degrees Fahrenheit. Well, if his body temperature decreased by 2 degrees, that would mean that his body temperature dropped 2 degrees. So this one's okay. And then B, the integer negative 2 represents the change in Alex's body temperature in degrees Fahrenheit is also correct. So those are both good answers. Number 5, a credit. Let me just highlight this. Credit, that's going to be a positive. A credit of $35 and a debit, that's going to be a negative, of $40 are applied to your bank account. Which ones of these 5 are true statements? Well, A, what is an appropriate scale? These are actual questions here. What is an appropriate scale to graph a credit of 35 and a debit of 40? Well, a credit of 35 is going to mean we're going to have a positive 35 integer, and a debit of 40 means that we're going to have a negative 40 integer. So my number line is going to have to range from negative 40 on the left side. Let me quickly draw. Oh, that's bad. Let me quickly draw one here. So negative 40 would have to be down on this end, and then 35 would have to be on the right end. And maybe we go by 5s, I think. Negative 35, negative 30, negative 25, negative 20, negative 15, negative 10, negative 5, 0, and then 5, 10, 15, 20. Let's erase this. Okay, let's keep going. 25, 30, 35. So that's about where it would be. And I could fill all these in, and should. But that would be our graph, so that we could fit both negative 40 and positive 35 on there. B, we talked about a credit of 35 represents a positive 35, and a debit of 40 represents a negative 40, and then we can fit this on there. 0 on the scale, which would be, let's see, 30, 25, 20, 15, 10, 5, would be 0 right here. 0 represents having no money in your account. So that would be the end of that. Okay, that's lesson 2 and lesson 3. We're applying some words that mean positive and negative, and putting integers in place of those to represent the situation. And I hope that helps. I'll see you again next time.